We are back here on the MMA Report on TSN Radio. It's John Pollock with you, and very pleased to be joined by this man on the line right now. He has been the talk of the mixed martial arts world since the most recent edition of Looking for a Fight. He is Mickey Gall, who will make his UFC debut coming up at UFC 196, headlining the Fight Pass prelims in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mickey, I imagine it's just been a whirlwind for you ever since this fight was made public last week by Dana White that you will be fighting Mike Jackson on February the 6th.
Yeah, man, it's been a crazy couple weeks. It's been a lot of fun. It's been crazy, but it's been a lot of fun.
This is, unprecedented, I think, in terms of a spotlight on somebody that here you are, one professional fight into your career. Just tell us a bit about the last week of your life, the interviews you have been conducting, everybody trying to learn as much as they can about Mickey Gall. I mean, tell me the good and the bad that comes with an interesting pressure situation such as this for yourself.
Man, I gotta be honest. I'm in a position where I think a lot of MMA fighters would be envious. I'm being presented with a great opportunity. I didn't expect to be faced with this beautiful opportunity as a 1-0 pro, but now that I am, I got this guy beeping at this guy behind me. Sorry, I'm driving to practice. I don't know if you could hear that. You're just sitting on the horn.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I have a great opportunity. I feel very fortunate, and I'm looking to make the most out of this. I'm very excited.
Have you, inevitably, you put yourself out there like that. Have you gotten a lot of negative feedback from people and other fighters that I'm sure, as you point out, are very envious of this kind of a situation and this kind of a platform?
I've gotten way more love than hate, a lot more support. I expected, I can't totally blame someone to being envious of this spot, but I have a lot of great support around me, and all my friends are freaking motivated. They're all loving this. They're all fired up, and I think that's the difference. I think winners get motivated by good things happening to people around them, and I think losers get jealous and get down and get crappy about it. I think it's a winner versus a loser mentality. But I can't say I don't understand where they're coming from. There's probably 100 other 1-0 pros out there that could fit this bill.
Yeah, at least. And you go back to last November. You're making your professional debut for Dead Serious MMA. At what point did you know that Dana White and a UFC film crew was going to be there? Did you know that ahead of time, or did you arrive at the arena hearing this news?
I did. I knew ahead of time. Frankie Perez, the owner of Dead Serious MMA, called me, I'd say a little less than a month before the fight. I was like, hey, bro, listen, there's a big opportunity. Dana White's going to be at the fight, blah, blah, blah. And I was like immediately after I got off the phone, I was like, oh, I'm going to call out CM Punk. It was very obvious to me. So, yeah, I guess it was calculated from that standpoint that I knew it was, I'd planned that out the moment I had found out Dana was going to be there. But yeah, it seemed pretty, it just seemed obvious. I knew I was going to be 1-0. I knew they needed a record. He couldn't fight some normal guy in the UFC who's 9-1. The commission wouldn't approve that. But I was like, he's 0-0. I'm going to be 1-0. If I get on that mic, I'm going to ask. I know Dana's going to be there. I'm going to ask to fight CM Punk.
Did you feel that Dana White was specifically coming to this show seeking out CM Punk's next opponent, or did you, that level of intellect, Mickey, most fighters, they really don't grasp that aspect of the game. You had a golden opportunity here, and I think you made the most of it. Did you feel that Dana, this was essentially that platform for you, there's going to be a camera crew there. This is a huge audience that's going to hopefully hear this call out. It just all made sense to you.
Yeah, it all made sense. There's other people that, he went to a show the night before. In the filming, it looked like they went there the day after. But the night before, they had a Friday night card in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Right.
And I figured I might be the fifth guy asking for CM Punk. That's how obvious it was to me. I thought, all these guys are gonna after they win are gonna ask for CM Punk because there's a lot of in the regional scene. There's a lot of low record guys, who are guys who are just starting 2-0, 3-0, 1-0 guys. So I figured I could have been the fifth person to jump, but luckily luckily, I guess I was the first.
How familiar were you with CM Punk prior to the announcement that he had signed with the UFC? Did you ever watch him in professional wrestling? Had you even heard his name before he signed with the UFC?
I was familiar with him the same way I was familiar with like a John Cena or just those other guys who were like the known professional wrestlers. When I was younger, I was a wrestling fan. I fell off when I got really involved in MMA. When I was like, that's when I don't know. I was probably like in middle school when I stopped watching wrestling. I was a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, but I was familiar with him, and then when I heard he was going to do MMA, I was like, oh, check that out. And then I never thought much of it. I never did I think I'd be connected to him in this way. Now, like I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's it's going to bring over a big fan base. I get what they're doing. But yeah, I never, even after I asked to fight him in front of Dana, I still didn't think anything was going to happen with it. I just figured, that's just some Jersey kid talking crap, and they're just going to brush it under the rug, man.
And how far after that November fight did you learn that you were going to be brought into the UFC? When was the Mike Jackson fight presented to you?
Well, I didn't know what they were going to do with the show until I was watching pay-per-view with my dad at the I think it was like January 2nd or whenever Condit fought Lawler, and they showed the clip, and I'm watching with my dad, and I was like, oh, Dad, that's the show they filmed at my fight and the fight before where my buddy Shorty fought. I was like, oh, we might see like Shorty or something on this. And then all of a sudden, we saw me talking, and our mouths like dropped open. We must have rewound it like 10, 15 times. We were so surprised. We had no idea. And then, after I started getting, like, they released the show, I saw I had a nice segment, and Dana White said he's interested. I kind of I got on social media, and I sent a little message to CM asking to do the fight, and then, I'd say about a week after that, I found out they were talking about bringing me in to fight for the CM Punk fight.
Do you have any resentment towards the fact that CM Punk has been given this huge contract to come into the UFC? And
heck no.
None.
Wouldn't I look like a jerk if I'm getting all that I'm getting right now is off of his superstardom, off of his name. I'd be a real jerk to say I have any resentment. Perhaps early I could have, but that would have just been the mindset, like I said earlier, of like those guys getting jealous. Just to he was a self-made guy. He made himself a superstar in one field. I guess because he loves our sport so much, just wanted to come over and really test himself. And I respect him for that. But I do think if and when this fight comes to fruition between me and him after I win February 6th, I think it's going to fare very well for me.
How much do you know about Mike Jackson? This is someone he's had an amateur fight. He does have a kickboxing background, but no professional fights. Tell us about how you're preparing for Mike Jackson.
I've been watching a lot of tape. A couple friends, my buddy, local heavyweight, who's really good. People will know about him soon. Big John Romero. Me and him have been breaking this guy down for the past week, and he's got some good stand-up. He obviously has been around a little while. He hasn't had an MMA fight in like 3 years. So I guess he's just been focusing on his stand-up. I saw his Legacy kickboxing fight over the summer. He looked impressive, but I thought he looked impressive against a not-so-impressive guy. I think I see vulnerabilities in his stand-up. I see good things in his stand-up that I'm going to pay attention to, but I think I beat him on the feet and I beat him on the ground. Wherever the fight goes, I think I'm better than Mike Jackson.
You sound, in speaking with you now, you sound very grounded about this entire, next couple of months that could potentially be gigantic for yourself. I mean, do you kind of just have your focus at this point on Mike Jackson and not even thinking about what happens with a win? Because then this becomes a whole different animal for you where you're going to be in a major spot.
Absolutely. I'm thinking totally about Michael Jackson until I get my hand raised, standing next to him in the octagon. Then I'm going to switch my thoughts back over to CM Punk. I mean, obviously I answer questions that people talk to me about CM because he's a big superstar. But, yeah, I'm focusing. I'm thinking about Mike Jackson. Without beating Mike Jackson, none of this happens. So that's what needs to happen first. And then we can have all the CM Punk fun. But, yeah, I'm focusing I'm focusing on Mike Jackson. And as far as staying grounded, man, I have a great support system. I have, a family and friends, teammates who, they got my back, and they wouldn't let me get, I got a lot of good mentors, good people looking out for me that I'm really appreciative for.
How were you introduced to fighting, and what was it that transitioned you into, maybe it was just an introduction in training and then something clicked for you where you wanted to do this professionally? Tell us just a bit about how you found the sport.
Well, growing up, I played all the sports. I played football, baseball, basketball, soccer, everything. I was captain of my football team in high school. I was always a pretty athletic kid. And then, I started watching fighting on TV. Me and my dad would watch it, and I was like, oh, this stuff's crazy. And then I the more I watch it, the more I just there's this attraction to it, and I was like, this is all the other sports. When you think about it, kind of seem silly, because in football, which was my favorite sport, we're at the end of the day we're throwing a ball around. You know what I mean? We're throwing and catching and running with a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting it was just so pure and so just I don't know. It's something about it just really, and it scared me a little bit, and that was what I found so attractive about it.
After your first fight, whether it was amateur or professional, tell us about kind of the nerves going into you've had, 3 documented fights, but in terms of going into that and just seeing that, wow, I prepared for something like this, I came out the winner. I mean, did that in some way change you at all, just having gone through that experience and having this challenge in front of you?
Yeah, the pre-fight nerves are crazy. One of the, you get, I can speak for myself and many other fighters, but mainly myself. I get nervous. I get nervous as heck before fights. It's a vulnerable thing. I'm about to go out in front of my family and friends, and this dude's gonna try and kick my ass, and I'm in my underwear practically. It's if you're not getting nerves, I think you're a little off. But I think that's going to be one of the differences between myself and CM Punk. Going back to him, because he's going to be used to the lights, the big stage, the cameras, the this, that. But then when they close that door and it's just me and him in there, that's something I've gone through. That's something I've done while I've done it 4 times. I had 3 amateur fights, and then I had 1 pro fight.
Right.
So I've done that 4 times. I'm sure he's done WrestleManias and all those big wrestling events, but, going one-on-one with a guy and real fight, it's different. It's different than practice. It's not practice. It's the real thing. And someone's coming at you trying to kill you. It's different. And that's where I think I'll really, separate myself from him.
Do you prefer this method that they've gone through, where if you do get this CM Punk fight, you'll have had that experience down with Mike Jackson, going through fight week, making weight, having a spotlight on you, but it's still something that you're not going to be front and center, whereas you'd really be thrown out there in the case of just coming in and going straight to the CM Punk fight. It seems like there is a lot to gain from this Mike Jackson fight for yourself, and going through, as you just outlined, experiences that CM Punk, Phil Brooks will be going through for the first time when he fights.
Yeah, Damon Martin brought that to my attention, that I'll get that, I'll get that whole Vegas experience. I'll get that, I'll go through the Vegas, the UFC pay-per-view, big event. I get to go through that, and I'm excited. I'm seeing people being like there's memes going from my point of view saying I have to fight an 0-0 guy to fight another 0-0 guy, but I should be upset about it. I am stoked. I'm excited. I'm happy. I get to fight. My dream gets to come true. I've always wanted to be a UFC fighter. That's what I plan to be there one day, not this soon, but I'm happy and I'm ready for it. I'm very excited for it. I love that I'm fighting to earn this fight. I love that.
And are you training exclusively with the Miller brothers for this fight?
Not exclusively. I do train with Jim and Dan Miller at their academy in Sparta, New Jersey, Miller Brothers MMA. My main gym that I've trained at since I was 16 is Gracie, New Jersey, in Lebanon, New Jersey. And I also train at American Top Team Allentown in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I'm actually driving to Gracie, New Jersey now, and then later tonight I'm going to spar in Allentown in Pennsylvania with American Top Team.
Well, Mickey, just the excitement in your voice. I'm very much looking forward to this. I think it's an incredible story, and I think that everyone is looking forward to whatever comes out of this. Once again, it's the headliner on the UFC Fight Pass prelims happening at UFC 196. That's February the 6th. The prelims kick off at 6 Eastern Time. You can follow Mickey at Mickey Gall. And let me be the first to wish you an early happy birthday, Mickey. I know it's your birthday coming up this week.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, Friday. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me on.
It was great to chat with you, Mickey, and I hope we can do it again sometime soon. Thank you, and all the best going into the fight. Thank you.